Okay, well, I am back. Thank you for doing that activity. I hope that you enjoyed that and that you were able to learn something about what someone else likes about you. And they were able to tell you something about yourself, and you were able to tell them something that you liked about them as well. Now, the purpose for this activity, let's talk about jealousy for a minute, because sometimes as females, we tend to see a girl and she may look, we think she looks better than us or she has more than us. And we may feel like, well, I'm jealous of her. I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to be your friend. Or, sometimes we even may sabotage something about that person because we're jealous of them. And unfortunately, that is not going to help your self esteem. So, this exercise will help squash that situation. If you happen to see somebody in a magazine or even a celebrity or a friend that you know of that they have something that you want and you may not like them or you may not want to be around them because you feel jealous, this will help that. So what you do is if you happen to be in that situation or you have that feeling and it's normal. I'm going to put that out there. It's normal to feel jealous. It's a normal emotion. However, you need to suppress it because that's not going to help you and it's not going to help your relationships. So, what you can do is if you encounter someone that you are jealous of, find something that you like about them and tell them about it. So, these three things that you were able to tell the other person, it's going to help their self-esteem as well as your self-esteem. So you kind of paid it forward. You did something nice for someone, and when you do something nice for someone, you feel good about yourself. So it was kind of like a double positive. You received a great compliment. You felt good about that compliment, and then you complimented somebody else, and so now your self-esteem is going to go higher. You're going to feel better about yourself. So, and then you can remember that compliment, write it down and say, hey, this person said this wonderful thing about me. I feel good about myself, okay? But you want to make sure that it's sincere and use that in your life. Use that with other people. Practice it with your friends. Practice it with someone that you're jealous of. And eventually you'll be able to squash that and you won't have to worry about that because jealousy can ruin your relationships. Jealousy can ruin your self-esteem and pretty much ruin your life, and you don't want to hold on to such a negative emotion. Okay, so go out there and find somebody and give them some compliments and make sure they're sincere. Oh, and one more thing, if you don't know the person, go ahead and look on the surface and find something on their surface that you think that you like about them. Maybe they dress really great or they know how to do their hair really well and you love that. They have the cutest earrings all the time. Something like that. Make sure it's sincere though. You don't want to flatter them. But that will help you get to know them better. You may have just gained a new friend as well. Okay, so try it that way. All right, so excellent job. I'm glad you took part of that. Let's move on to our self chit chatter sheet. Now, the self chit chatter sheet, it looks something like this. Okay, and basically, I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of it, what it's about. This think sheet's going to help you understand how important it is to speak positive things to yourself. Because as the saying goes, we are our own worst enemy. We say negative things to ourselves when we make the smallest of mistakes, and this does not help with personal development. It's important to remember that what you say to yourself makes all the difference in what you say to others. Treat yourself well and with love and respect, and you're more likely to do the same to other people. Take care of yourself first, and you can take care of other people. Okay? And when a situation arises that makes you nervous, frightened, anxious, intimidated, or makes you feel challenged, stop first before you speak about what you can or cannot do. Think of positive words and phrases to help you deal with the situation in a positive way to produce the most positive outcome. And even if something does go wrong and things will not always go our way, that's life, refrain from beating yourself up about it. Instead, take a step back, reassess the situation. That basically means to just think of it in a different way and brainstorm things you could do next time if you happen to be put in that situation or circumstance again. Okay? Chit chatter to yourself about how brave you are to try something new, how much you enjoy a challenge because it motivates you to do your best. Find ways to turn the negative into a positive, okay? If you can chit chat on Facebook with your friends, then you can chit chat to yourself, okay? We all talk to ourselves. Take advantage of that opportunity. Say something positive about yourself. And let's go over a couple of these. A lot of us say the word I can't. If you say I can't, guess what's going to happen? Your brain is going to go to work and it's going to make sure that you can't. So you want to change that to I can. So even if it's something that you are not able to do, use the word I'm not able to do it now, but I can learn how to do it. Something like that. And that way you will kind of get rid of the negative and you'll start talking positive about yourself, and your brain's going to go to work to make sure that that happens and that you're able to do it because you believe in yourself. Okay? And let's go with I'm afraid. A lot of times we have these fears and we don't want to do something. Maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's talking to somebody that you like, maybe it's calling someone, a job interview, going to college, a party, and you're afraid to approach people, anything like that. If you say you're afraid, guess what's going to happen? Your body is going to start feeling that flight or fight feeling, the adrenaline, and you're going to want to run from it. You're not going to want to face it. And your brain's going to tell you, okay, this is causing fear. You don't need to be here. You need to run. And you don't want to do that. That's not going to help your self-esteem. So instead of saying I'm afraid, say I'm brave. Okay? When you say that, again, your brain's going to go to work. You are retraining your brain to believe that you're brave enough to do it, regardless of not whether you feel fear or not. Go ahead and do it. If you feel it, just do it. Say you're brave. Train your brain. Tell your brain, I can do this. I'm brave. And guess what's going to happen? Your self-esteem will soar, and you'll be able to do a whole lot more things in your life. Okay? So try those out. Put these in your kit, or post them on a wall somewhere so that you remember and you don't forget words to avoid and words you can use instead. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the self maps. Now, again, I emailed these to those of you that signed up for the workshop. And a self map is basically for you to get to know something about yourself that you may not necessarily like right now. So I put down 7 different areas of the body, and for instance, I put down the brain. Now let's say somebody has a problem with their brain. Maybe you're not able to think right. Maybe you are dyslexic, or maybe you are a slow learner. You feel like you're a slow learner and you just don't like yourself. Maybe you've been teased or something. That can definitely make your self-esteem go down. Now, I do want to encourage you to, when you sign up for my Beat newsletter, C2W Beat newsletter, you will get the Brain Foods report. You'll be able to know how to squash all of that stuff and deal with it. But for now, let's just go back to this. With the self map, you want to speak positive things into your life. And you want to put, instead of saying, my brain is not working right and I'm not happy about myself, I hate myself, or something like that. Instead, you can say, I love my brain. I am going to do good things to help my brain. I'm going to eat good food to feed my brain. I am going to do puzzles and brain teasers so that my brain will improve. I'm going to get help. I'm going to do this and that. I love my brain. So you're going to pick apart those parts of your body. And if you don't want to use these parts, go ahead and pick something else. If there's something that you don't like about yourself, if you don't like your nose, or you don't like how your eyes are too big, or they're too small to you, or your lips are just, you don't like the way they're shaped, put something positive about those lips and speak some life into those lips, into that nose, into your hair, and that's going to help you feel good about you on the inside. And your self-esteem will soar as well, because you are speaking positive things. And again, you're retraining your brain. And when you look in the mirror, eventually you're going to say, you know what? I used to not like that nose, but you know what? I like it. I don't care. It's okay. I'm okay with my nose. And then your self-esteem will improve and you'll feel better about yourself. So take this self-map, draw a picture of yourself. If you don't like to draw, take a photograph, put the photograph on there, make lines, and just start writing positive things about it. I'll give you another example. One of them is my arms. Now, some people don't like their arms. Sometimes they may have a little flab. Maybe they're too skinny. Who knows? We're going to look at ourselves differently, and we're going to say, I don't like something. So for me, I love to hug people. I love to touch, because touch is powerful. Now, what I put for myself, that when I encounter people, I want to hug them because I want to express love to them. I want to use my arms to love others and to comfort others. Maybe somebody's crying or sad. I want to use my arms for that purpose. And that will help me like my arms better. Okay, so that's another way that you can look at it as well. What can you do to use that part of your body to do something positive for someone else? And then again, you're going to feel better about yourself and you're also helping someone else. Okay, so use that to your advantage. Have fun with it. Cut out pictures, cut out words and put them on there. Just be creative and have a good time. Okay, let's go to our 7 affirmations and behaviors. And the reason why I gave you these affirmations is because your behavior has a lot to do with your self-esteem. It plays a huge part in it, okay? So if you have negative behavior, if you have maybe conduct disorder, or you do things that you're not proud of, it's not going to help your self-esteem at all. Your self-esteem is going to plummet. It's going to be at a very low level. You're not going to feel good about yourself. People are not going to want to be around you. They're not going to want to deal with you because of your behavior. So in order for that to soar and go higher and you feel good about yourself and other people feel good about you, you can use these affirmations to say every day, maybe 3 times a day. And again, retrain your brain. Help your brain to believe that. And you know, the brain is powerful. I'm telling you, when you tell your brain something, it's going to go to work for you and make sure it happens. Okay? So now, for those of you that do not know what an affirmation is, it's basically just affirming something positive into your life. So you are speaking positivity into your brain and you're instilling it in there and you're letting yourself know, this is what I'm going to do, or this is who I am, and it's going to help you. Okay? So number 1, let's go over these. I will think before I act. This is the number 1 behavioral problem. If you do not think before you act, guess what's going to happen? You all know, negative consequences. So you want to think about things before you do something. Weigh the consequences, weigh the pros and the cons. Now, teenagers, your brain does not develop fully until you're about age 25. There's one area of your brain, it's called the prefrontal cortex, that has not fully developed yet, which means you normally don't have the full ability to predict the consequences of your behavior. So that is why a lot of teens get into a lot of trouble, because they're not thinking ahead. They're not thinking, oh, what's going to happen after I do this? And so that doesn't mean that you're never going to get it right until you're 25, because there's plenty of teens out there who do think about that. And that's the part where you have to train your brain until that develops. So these affirmations will help you do that. So think before you act, and it will help you a lot. Number 2, I will behave in ways that contribute to my well-being. 3, I will behave in a mature manner at all times for the well-being of others and myself. Now let me go over that really quickly. I do not mean that you have to be mature and adult every day of your life, wherever you are, whomever you're with, and never have any fun. Now, you can be silly, have a good time, do your thing, be young. I can be silly myself. I'm an adult, but I know how to become a little girl and a teenager too and have some fun, because that's still inside of me and it will never die. And so what you can do, what I'm saying here is, when you're in situations with others, you're around other people, check your behavior and let them know that you can be a mature person. You can have fun, but you do have a maturity about you. And you want to make sure that you present that to the world in a mature way, okay? At the same time, while you're being silly and having a good time, okay? Number 4, I will treat myself with respect and care. 5, I will treat others with respect and care. And you cannot do number 5 until you do number 4 first. Okay, so that goes back to the whole knowledge of self being the most important thing with self-esteem. If you do not treat yourself with respect and care, if you do not take care of yourself, you cannot do the same to anyone else. So make sure you do number 4 before you do number 5. Okay? Number 6, I will immediately make amends for any negative behavior I exhibit. I will first make sure I check my behavior, so I will not need to make amends or say I'm sorry. All right, so that goes back into the thinking before you act. You won't need to do that if you're able to think before you act. So again, use that affirmation to retrain your brain so you can do that. With this one, if you make a mistake, if you hurt someone's feelings, if you do something that's negative or less than acceptable, if your behavior is just not on par that day and you're just not doing the best thing that you can do or being the best that you can be, and maybe you hurt a friend, maybe you hurt a family member, maybe you just did something you shouldn't have done. Immediately make amends. If you truly care about that person, don't wait. Get on the ball, call them up, apologize, sit down with them, let them know, hey, I made a mistake. And we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to